Let me tell you something that might sound crazy at first, but it's the plain, ugly truth. Power doesn't just corrupt people, it makes them believe they're untouchable, even when the whole world is watching. Yeah, that happened, and I saw it firsthand the day Michael Trent, the so-called hero police chief, wrapped his hand around my neck, right in the middle of a courtroom packed with people. You know what I mean? This wasn't just another headline about some cop gone bad. No, this was a fight for the soul of an entire city. And I knew if I backed down now, if I let fear or rage win for even a second, the system would swallow me up and spit me out as just another cautionary tale. But let me back up a sec. It started like every high-stakes trial, cold, tense, with that strange hush that falls when everyone knows the future might change in an hour. The marble floors shone too bright, the chandeliers threw weird shadows, and every seat was filled with folks either rooting for justice or praying nothing would change. I walked in, suit pressed, heart pounding, but you'd never know a tide spent months prepping, nights poring over evidence. And every step I took felt heavier than the last. Because this wasn't just about exposing Michael Trent. This was about sending a message to every power-hungry official who ever thought a badge gave them a license to hurt people. Michael looked me dead in the eye from the defendant's table. He used to walk these halls like he owned the place, all medals, and yes sir, no sir, but today he just looked small, angry, but also scared, like deep down, he finally realized the mask was slipping. I stood my ground, ready to bring him down, and when I spoke today, the truth comes out, Michael. Whether you like it or not. I saw something flicker behind his bravado, and that's when Happened rushed me, shouting, "What do you think you're going to do to me? A black woman who dares accuse me? I won't let someone like you destroy everything I built." He squeezed my throat, his voice trembling with rage and panic. It was wild, really him thinking he could end it all with one act of violence. One more abuse of power right where everyone could see. The courtroom froze. I saw fear in some eyes, disbelief in others, but I kept staring right at him, refusing to break. Then instead of fighting back with fists, I pulled out my FBI badge, held it up for the whole room to see like a beacon. My voice came out calm, steady, even though inside, adrenaline was lighting me up. "You can threaten me, Michael, but the truth will come out. You're not above the law." Silence fell, thick and electric. For a second, he faltered, tried to apologize, like he could walk it back, but I didn't give him that out. Not after all he'd done. What happened next felt like a movie, but it was all too real. Security rushed in, separated us, and Michael was finally, publicly, exposed for who he really was. Still, the fight was far from over. I knew how these things worked. One slip, one piece of missing evidence, and a crooked system could twist everything back around. It wasn't just Michael in that courtroom. It was every person who'd ever covered for him, every judge or lawyer or concerned citizen who liked things just the way they were. I didn't sleep much that week. Even as the trial moved forward, with evidence and testimony piling up, the threats started rolling in. Anonymous calls in the middle of the night, "Back off, or your family gets hurt." Whispered rumors at the office, people I called friends suddenly keeping their distance. I'd always told myself I was ready for this, but it's different when it's real, when you see that black sedan parked outside your house, when your hands shake just locking your own door. It got worse when Mary Jane, my closest friend on the force, started acting strange. She'd been with me since the start, through all the stakeouts, late-night phone calls, and coffee-fueled strategizing. But during a crucial cross-examination, she stood up and announced she was siding with Michael. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Betrayal isn't just pain fuel, it messes with your mind, makes you question every memory, every inside joke and shared secret. I kept it together, at least on the outside, but inside I was spiraling. Who could I trust? Was I really alone in this? But I pressed on. I had to. The city was watching, and so were the victims, the people who'd been hurt by Trent's boys and left behind by a system that was supposed to protect them. That night, after another threatening letter, I almost broke. I stared at my mother's photo on the nightstand and remembered her telling me, "You were born to shake things up, Clara. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." So I got back up, dried my tears, and kept fighting. Just as the verdict seemed within reach, everything twisted again. I was grabbed leaving my apartment, forced into a car, tied up, and dumped in some abandoned warehouse. The guys who took me didn't just want to scare meth, he wanted me gone. Permanently. But I remembered my training, remembered Mary's voice in my head, stay calm. Don't give them the satisfaction. I stayed alert, memorizing every detail, waiting for a shot at escape. Turns out, Mary hadn't betrayed me after all. She was undercover, feeding information to the FBI, risking her own life to keep me safe and bring down the whole rotten network. The rescue was chaos, gunfire, shouting, the whole 9 yards, but they got me out. When Mary finally explained everything, the relief hit me so hard I almost sobbed. All those doubts, all that pain had been part of something bigger. Sometimes, you have to play the villain to bring down the real enemy. With everything out in the open, Michael and his crew were finally taken down. The press conference that followed was wild evidence on the table, cameras flashing, the city holding its breath. For the first time, people saw just how deep the rot went, how police, politicians, and criminals had been protecting each other for years. It was ugly, but it was the truth, and the wave of public outrage was like nothing I'd ever seen. Watching Michael escorted out in cuffs, head down, powerless, should have felt like the end, but it wasn't. That victory was just the beginning. We'd cracked open the door, but I knew plenty more powerful people were still hiding in the shadows. Every day since, I've fought to keep that door open, drafting reforms, mentoring new agents, refusing to let the system close ranks again. The loneliness still stings, the scars are still there, but I know what's at stake. I know I'm not just fighting for me, or even for the city. I'm fighting for everyone who ever believed justice was just a word, for everyone who needed to see that the system could actually change. So, yeah, maybe I'm stubborn, maybe I've lost things along the way that I'll never get back, but I wouldn't trade a second of it, not if it means even one more person gets a fair shot. Because justice isn't a destination, it's a choice you make, day after day, even when nobody's watching, even when you're scared. Would you have done the same? Would you risk everything to stand up to a system designed to crush people like us? Or is the cost of justice just too high? Let me know what you think. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Does justice ever really win? Or is it just a fight we have to keep showing up for, no matter the odds? Tell me your truth, because change starts with voices like yours.